Welcome to our podcast Beyond the Brief. Ever wondered about legal writing skills or why your internship application keeps getting rejected? Join us as we dive into these topics with our esteemed guest, Advocate Lalit Ajmani. With over 6 years of experience in litigation and a wealth of knowledge, he has shared some invaluable insights on internship applications, legal writing skills, and much more. Be ready to be inspired and informed on our journey with Advocate Lalit Ajmani. So, thank you so much for joining in, sir. And
My pleasure, rather.
with your journey, could you please walk us through your journey? Please, tell us about how did you start and how is it going?
I think to begin my journey, I would like to share my experience as a cricketer because in school days, my first passion, first love was cricket. I'm a national athlete. I played at under 16 level also. So even in school days and after school, I joined Kirodimal College, and I was in Kirodimal team also. But due to one reason or the other, I think I could not pursue the cricket as a professional stream. So then I was forced to choose whatever was there. So in 11th and 12th, I chose humanities, and humanities has never been considered as the best option. Humanities means without maths, without
Mm.
commerce, and without science, of course.
Right.
So law was something that probably was fixing here and there, and my grandfather always wanted me to become an IAS officer for no reason at all, but I didn't have any interest. Slowly and gradually, I got to know about NLUs through my relatives and all. So I took CLAT and gladly I cleared that and I joined National Law University, Punjab. His
Okay.
full name is Rajiv Gandhi National University of Law.
Yes.
And thereafter, the law journey of law has started.
Wonderful. So, uh, wanted to become a cricketer, and here you are, a litigator, and doing extremely well in your profession. So, sir,
Thank you. It's
how did
open
you
to
choose?
interpretation, yes. It's open to interpretation whether I'm doing good or not, yes.
Definitely, you are doing good because we are hearing you and we are learning from you every day. So, I'm sure you're doing well and you'll do even better in the future. But, sir, how did you decide whether to go for corporate or to go for litigation?
Okay, so I joined National Law University primarily for the corporate job because, as I said, that I was in one of the best colleges of Delhi University, and it was always the opportunity and the chance for me to opt for Delhi University Law after my graduation. So I chose National Law University because everywhere there were 12 lakh, 15 lakh packages were showing here and there. And as a student who had no idea what to do, so that package and the advertisement of packages in Bar and Bench and Legally India tried it. So I chose this National
Absolutely.
University primarily for the packages. I had no knowledge about law or something. Of course, in novels, it was something like that it's a studious thing, and probably you need to apply your brain. So that was the second reason for me choosing taking up the law. But in initial 2 3 years of my college, I was totally dedicated towards securing a job. I was doing internships after internship. Probably I've done 14 internships, and in the beginning, I really wanted to uh, top the class. That was my aim when I joined the law college. But after the first semester result, I got to know that it's never going to achieve. So, but I kept doing internships and so many extracurricular activities. And after 4 years, I had 2 3 opportunities and 2 3 offers also. And it was a campus placement through which I joined Singh and Associate, and I worked there for 6 months. Then I realized that probably I should do something else, or at least I should try something else. And nobody of my family members has any relation with law or litigation. But
Right.
I thought that that's something of my own I should start, and thereafter I chose litigation again as a chance to see whether it's inspires me or whether it gives me the so-called kick, I would say. And even after that, it took me some reasonable time. And then I realize that yes, litigation is something that is uh, good to me, and I continued litigation from there on.
Right. And it is very courageous to choose litigation being a first generation lawyer, especially in Delhi because Delhi is very crowded that way.
Absolutely, Delhi is crowded as well as I think that there is a huge gap. Once I enter into litigation to see whether as I said, whether it's my cup of tea or not. But what I also observed in litigation, there's a huge gap of professionalism, especially in trial courts or in the initial stages, where you would find so many opportunities, so many people who are struggling to get good advocates. And of course, the system in litigation is that the people end up spending so many years to
Right.
get a glimpse of justice or relief. So there I found that, probably there is something and there is a huge gap, which if I can find some workable solution, I think all the drawbacks of, as you said, that there are so many there are so many competitions and it's already crowded, especially in Delhi. So even despite of all these fallacies, I think the gap is so huge that it can cater newcomers like me.
I was very sure that I don't want to go into corporate from the first year itself. So I did my two
Okay.
internships in Delhi. But after interning at Delhi High Court, I was like, I cannot do litigation either because I rarely saw any junior advocate argue there. It's like advocates are just roaming with files and only seniors are arguing, and it's very, very crowded. So I was very scared. But then eventually I interned at High Court of Chhattisgarh, and I found कि Chhattisgarh में फिर भी space है. It's because it's comparatively new, and my hometown is in Chhattisgarh. So I was like, okay, again I'm going back to litigation. But I was scared after interning at Delhi.
As far as Delhi High Court and any metro High Court is concerned, by and large, yes, you are right that it's difficult for a new lawyer to find its space. But what I'm seeing that especially in last 2 or 3 years, people of my age, and I would say I won't say that that there is huge difference between my age and your age. People like in their late 20s or early 30s, they are presenting and appearing very quite frequently before Delhi High Court, and they are getting good results also because the work that they bring in, that new way of working and uh, arguing there is something that's perhaps unique, and that is widely welcomed by the judges also. However, but that's a huge fight because, as I said, that there is a huge gap and there are so many opportunities at trial level. But once you come before Delhi High Court, even the litigants really want to bet on this experienced advocates
Yes,
at that point of time, because you would end up only with one opportunity thereafter, that is Supreme Court.
right,
So in lower courts, people have cases where the stakes are not so high, but in High Court, it is always the first appeal, second appeal, and the stakes are high. So in appellate court, you would always find that the majority would be lawyers who are already settled or probably who are more experienced than the new ones.
right. Sir, so after working for almost 6 years, what are the things that still excite you, or what are the new things that you discover?
Uh, First of all, I think whenever I get a chance to argue on a point of law, that still excites me. Even let's say tomorrow, if there is a case and there is a new point of law, or if I get the opportunity to argue on any point of law, so that still excites me. Arguing before courts is something I really enjoy. And by nature, I'm very introspect. And initial days, my family and known members, they were quite surprised as I chose litigation as a career, because I'm not a person, or I won't fall into the category of extrovert or a social kind of person. So I'm a very reserved person. But when I started arguing, it's something that excites me. And new thing, I would say that different areas of law. And with God's grace, I also get opportunity to work for people who are not just restricted to India. So I got work from USA and other countries also. So when you get the opportunity to work at international level, so it actually gives you a different perspective. And with people you work with, it's also a different experience because there are people who are actually fighting, for their means, and there are people who are in a much better position.
Right.
So working with them has different experience out of it.
Right, sir. And as you said, you enjoy arguing new matter of law or question of law. So I think that is in moot court competition, we usually argue the unsettled principle of law. And I was a participant when you were judge in quarterfinals in MIT.
Did, did, did I judge you? Did
Yes,
I
sir.
judge you around or did I? Okay.
You were
I
the
hope I didn't grill you much.
Oh, you did. You actually grilled us, but it was not very brutal. I think it was a three judge bench there, and we were in our first year.
Was it an online competition or
Yes, sir. Yes,
was it
it
a?
was an online competition in 2021. I was in my first year
Okay.
then, and we were
Okay.
semi-finalists, so we did qualify that round. But the grilling was so hard.
Oh.
I must say that.
Yes. I never grilled just for the sake of grilling. I had the opportunity to, adjudicate 20, 30 competitions if I can. Trying to say that, I don't grill just for the sake of grilling. I just put questions what in practical experience you may face and what as a judge of moot court will ask you.
That I
And as a judge, there are so many opportunities to grill.
Sir, but it was really important for us to face that grilling the first year itself because after that, whenever I went into a competition, I was prepared for that. And lately, we were a participant in KK Luthra Moot competition as well, last month only. And
Okay,
there,
great.
I was not intimidated because I was prepared for the grilling also. So,
You had already gone through the gacha, so there's no fun of facing another battle. Okay, great.
but so you also put a lot of emphasis on legal writing. Uh, I
Yes.
remember you had organized a very short workshop kind of thing for 5 to 7 people, and I was also there in that workshop. But
Oh, great.
I could not really start writing because I find it little boring. I'm very happy to do mooting and do speaking things, but I find it difficult to start writing. So, uh, can you?
It's absolutely boring. It's absolutely. Even today, sometimes I feel that that it's a boring job. In initial phase of writing a new piece of I would say new piece of writing would always be challenging. Even today, when I've written so many things on so many topics, I literally feel uh, there is compulsion inside me as a human that not to indulge in such boring and tedious job and do something else, especially when I'm handling a busy chamber. So yes, I totally agree with this view that it's a boring thing, of course. But once you start writing, I think when you put your research and your views, you get into touch with what you are writing, and then probably the process becomes smoother. Now that's a boring part, but as you said that I focus too much on writing. Reason being that it has so many benefits which no other skill or no other event can provide you with. I I think that mooting will give you just a glimpse or probably just one set of opportunity or one side of a coin to try a luck with. But writing, first of all, as I said, that it helps you in litigation, law forms, judiciary, whatever you name it. And second, once you write, you put so much research work into very concise words.
Right.
So that's a skill that as a lawyer, because as a lawyer you have to read so much uh, case after case after case. So let's say that uh, uh, there were couple of weeks in the last month when our board was too heavy. So it was like after having 4 or 5 cases in the afternoon, then in the evening you have to read a lot to prepare for next day. So again you have to grill and another another slot of heavy work. So as a lawyer, you have to indulge in reading as well as writing. There is no option to that. So I think that the writing prepares you for the same. And whereas mooting, of course, mooting involves to research work as well as reading. But once you know that you are not going to write it, you are just going to utilize. the gist of it and utilize your own words to articulate that thing, that has different connotation as compared to once you know that you are going to use that research work into writing. So I think there is no comparison of writing, even in today's world where reels and videos are taking, flew. Of course, writing has taken slightly two steps back, but in my experience as well as in my observation, whenever people have something important to look for, so people at least go and look for some, written piece of advice or written article or some written newspaper. They won't rely totally on some reels, or they won't rely totally on YouTube videos. They would definitely collaborate with something written. So written piece and your writing will always have some value throughout, at least till a very reasonable future.
That I completely agree, sir. But another challenge which we face while writing is how to decide whether I want to write a research paper on this topic or a blog or an article. So that is also a problem.
I think we shouldn't worry about what we write in initial days, especially in initial 1 or couple of years. Whatever we a person can write upon, even if it is not related to law, that is good enough. Let's say that you like fashion world for example. So you write on anything related to fashion, brands, trademark registration or something. If let's say I like cricket, so I can write on sports and I can write on IPL for a reasonable time. Then slowly and gradually, I will start realizing that okay, that now writing is something that I can do it. So why not utilize it in my own career? Then slowly and gradually, as a person will grow, he will definitely include his passion or skills towards his profession easily. So initially, for 1 or couple of years, I don't think so that the person should worry, whether he or she should write.
So, but in our law school days, we write to add charm to our CV. That's the purpose. Although when we write, we get to know a lot of things. We learn a lot when we do research and all. But the aim is to add it in our CV and get it published at right place. So then it becomes
Yes.
a challenge.
I think I've done. I won't say it's a mistake, but it's a method that I've done. I did so many things in my law school, only to have a good CV or a better CV for a better job. What I realized that if we do only X number of things in a given field, and let's say in a particular semester, if we just write two pieces of writing, one or two good moods, and thereafter focus on whatever we actually feel like. So I think that's more than enough, because by the end of fourth year you would have at least 10 publications, 8 or 10 good publications, and you would have 4 to 5 good moods where you have secured well. So I think even if you write just two pieces of writing per semester, that's more than enough. And as you say, the second thing that you said, that whether to write for blog, whether to write for journal, whether to write for news daily, I think in two things, two research, as I said, that two pieces of writing, one you can divide it. One you can write it for blog, and one you can write it for any law school journal. So that way you don't have to focus too much on those things.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing
Yes,
that.
but yes, you have to face that boring. You
Right, sir. Though difficult, but it is how we should do and how this is the way, I think.
Yes, and if you're dedicated, and if you know that the law is going to something that you would like to cherish upon, then of course this is the way that you should function, because only on academics you cannot base your career on, and even if you don't choose your litigation or the path of career that you would like to focus on in your law school days and afterwards, I think this is a balanced approach, and after 3 or 4 years you can choose whether litigation is something that excites you or whether the corporate work is something that excites
Okay. And so, would you advise students to take extra certification courses or extra courses like you did in IPR? So,
you. I did an IPR for a couple of reasons. First of all, it was IPR something that I used to like. Even I still like the trademark, if you talk about. And second, it was of no cost. It was just free. So you go there, you read, and you take your exam, and if you qualify, it's good. So, but if you ask me, I don't think so that a person should take any extra, certificate for that matter. What a law student should do, irrespective of his career choice. Let's say that you are interested in IPC. So you write a couple of articles or three articles on IPC, and then you start working on a book on IPC, even in your law school days. Because the amount of time, the amount of energy that a law student will put in his or her book, that has no comparison with a professional who is already, bombarded with his heavy work. And once you complete that book in your law school career, you would be termed as an expert right from the day when you leave your law school. And even before that, you will be termed as an expert. There are so many examples in history where Indian law students have been considered as experts because they have written so much on a particular area of law. So I think that instead of spending so much amount of money of taking benefits or taking just just shining their CV with some certificate course, I think it's better if a person can write upon, or if let's say not a book but write something for international journals or so. I think it's much better.
It's a very unique piece of advice, sir, because a lot of law students do work in a book, but for some other senior, not for their own book. So I think very less students work on their book while in their law school.
Yes, because mostly it's a conception that only after law school you would
Yes.
be considered, or as a law student you start thinking only then you can write something on. But I think that's not the case. As a law student, you can write it.
So what I think is, who's gonna read my book? I'm not an expert, so that is my perception.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't get you. Sorry.
I think who will read my book? Like, I'm not an expert, so why would somebody read something that
Okay.
I have written?
That's a great question. As I said that before book, you start writing couple of articles or three articles, and once you write two three articles, you publish a book. This kind of book won't give you popularity, or probably not even 10 or 15 people will read your book. Very honestly, I'm talking about, because of the reason that you just highlighted. And second thing, that the market is already filled with so many books, and people have stopped reading too much
Right.
with books. So, but even after this fallacy, I would still recommend reason that let's say that if you sit for a corporate, so if you say that that you have written down the book, and the person who is taking your interview knows what value that you have put it on while drafting your book. Second, that many a times, if you see the history in uh, in our jurisprudence, that once the book is published, more often than not, it will get popularity only after 5-10 years of its publication, when the author gets popularity. So let's say that in initial days, if a person publishes his book, he or she will realize that probably it's not the best piece of writing or the best piece of book he has written it. And in the process of writing a book, you would have so much to write upon your articles, and so on and so forth. So even just by working on a particular area of law, let's say that you do 10, let's say three moots on IPC, best of three moots in India on IPC. You have written, let's say, 5 or 6 articles on your IPC. You won't get to know that people have already started recognizing you, that that this is a law student who is really good at IPC. And once you releases a book, at least the law school will start inculcating your book in their library, and slowly and gradually, with your popularity, whatever career you choose, the book will be chosen. But this is not going to be something that novelists get their chance with their books, because people would like to read non-legal stuff as compared to
Right.
legal subjects like IPC or something.
Right. It's fascinating for me actually. Uh, so you're also very active on LinkedIn. Like, you write a lot on LinkedIn. So how important is it to be active on LinkedIn these days?
I think if not on LinkedIn, at least one of the social media that a person should be very active on. Either it's Instagram, Facebook, Threads, Twitter nowadays, X, or LinkedIn. Reason being that that after COVID, everyone starts using internet more than ever. So let's say that a person uses or picks up his phone and uses social media at least for 2 hours per day, easily. Even the
Absolutely.
most productive people use 1 hour, 1.5 hour. So if you're
Absolutely.
not on social media, it means that you are not on in a place where the entire world is in. And especially as a lawyer who is actually dependent upon the people who can bring work to them, irrespective of the level that you touch in the field of litigation or even in the field of a business, let's say. So a person should be known to the people. Only then people will start giving or taking his services or goods or whatever he can offer with. So that's the thumb rule, that wherever the people are, your services, or as a lawyer you should be known to that. Point number one. Point number two, why I active on LinkedIn. Firstly, I really like it, irrespective of its benefits and all. I actually like it, posting something that things that I think probably may help me or some other person who is writing. Let's say that once there was there. And second, that the example or the thing that I would like to share. So I shared my views as regarding the or regarding the procedure CVs that the students come up with for their internship applications. I find 5 or 7 common mistakes that the people have done in their resume. So I just put it. I think that probably if 5 students will read it, that would be really good. And luckily, it went, I won't say viral, but it got some publicity.
Right.
And a lot of people I believe that a lot of students got benefit out of it. And that's one of the things that I really like about LinkedIn. That as an introvert, it actually helps you to stay connected with the others. And I'm not a person who is really keen on making videos and all. Though I tried it, I won't deny it that I started doing it, but I really feel I'll not say uncomfortable, but I really don't enjoy it. It's not that hard. After 5 or 6 videos, you get to know that
Right.
what is the best way to do it. But I really didn't get any enjoyment of doing it. So I thought that let's do something that will excite you. That has been a fun of my life, that I prefer doing what excites me. So LinkedIn is one of the things, and it has a lot of benefits as a lawyer, of course.
Right. And I've been following you for long. I see a lot of posts from your cases, like when you get favorable orders, or you also share few things from like mostly on defamation or some procedural aspect of it.
Yes. A reason being that I'm writing a book on defamation. So that's
Okay.
why I suggested that a person should write on it. And second, that as I said that whenever I get some insights upon defamation, so I just share it with the people for 2 reasons. Of course, to spread news, and for the very selfish reason also, that the people get to know that there is a very niche area that I'm working upon. So it's you won't find people, and especially lawyers, who are focusing on defamation as such.
Hmm.
But
Right.
I think that the defamation is something that the future may come up with, and it has huge scope outside India also, because it's not just restricted. Let's say if a person sitting in USA posted something for a person who belongs to Netherlands but staying in India. So which law will be applicable? It actually happened with one of the cases, but the states were different in India. All three scenarios were from India. Yes.
Okay. And so, as you talked about internship application, so I tried to fill few times, but I saw that there was a column where you want a piece of writing. And as I mentioned, I could not write,
Yes.
so I could never fill internship application form there. But sir, what is the worst mistake that we as interns make?
Okay, that's one of the mistakes that you could have done it. Let's say that if you don't fill in, so what you can do it, you can just mail it with the honesty that probably that you haven't written so much on any of the things, but you are ready to learn it. So
Right.
if I am a person who is going to select it, will see it. okay, that this is a person that who is looking to learn and probably develop. And then as a recruiter, I may consider that that this is a law student that who is probably better than the person who has already written it, because firstly she has admitted to the uh, criteria, and secondly that she is willing to learn. So the point number one that I'm taking, let's say that if you're not feeling it, that be honest and slightly be innovative and just put your application forward. And more often than not, at least in 50% scenarios, you would see that you would get some kind of response that you won't have thought of. So that's point one. And second, I think the yes, the quality of resume. Quality of resume, I meant that a law student, considering in today's world, there is actually competition. There
Right.
is no denying of that. If people say that that there are so many opportunities, yet there are so many opportunities, but there are equal number of law students or more number of law students than the opportunities available. So your resume has to be good and has to be far better than the people. So and every law student knows that how his or her resume can be better, whether through moot competitions or whether through writing or whether through extracurricular activities. So I think two-page resume is something that a person should work on. And nowadays that I've started seeing people coming up with a very innovative and fascinating resumes of one page, where people write so many things in just one liner, and that's a great glimpse. So but your resume nonetheless has to be good, and it should be it should have some quality of it.
I
Yes.
think publication and the prestige of the journal is also matters, because I have written two pieces, but they're not published in a very prestigious journal. So I was skeptical whether to add it in my resume or should I skip it.
Always add it. Always add it, because that shows that that you have done something, and you have started writing, and your writing has been considered worthy enough to get published. So irrespective of the stature of your publication or in the writing house, I think it's a very good thing that that you have got two publications secured. And you never get to know that whether the person who is reviewing it is actually focusing on or is actually reading your publication area. He or she will just read, okay, this is the area that you have written upon, that's all. Because no person will have time to go through your entire resume.
Right.
It's only 15-20 seconds. It seems quite less, but it's more than enough for a person to skim through and get to know that whether it's a good person to shortlist for the telephonic interview or not. So you must write it, yes. If you're applying for law firm and if you're applying for litigation, you must write that and you must mention this.
Right. So my last question to you is, how do you manage
Yeah, please.
time?
Okay.
How do you manage your
How do I
time?
manage? I think two two things that probably help me. First of all, I'm a very strong believer of a to-do list. I've done so many experiments with to-do list, daily to-do list, monthly to-do list, and I've read so much on it.
Right.
But what works for me is the weekly to-do list.
Okay.
So this I think that every person may should at least every person should try upon, especially the law students who are already bombarded with so many things. So what weekly to-do list helps you, that let's say that on a given day that you haven't done so much, so you can put it and uh, push it for the next day. But the next day that that you are already facing some you are already having some backlog, so on that given day, you would do something that will also catch up your yesterday's work.
Right.
So weekly to-do list actually helps you, and you know that that after 3 days, this is an important case or this is an important class you have to work upon. So you would say that okay, let's work on 2 days, and then the third day would be slightly easier. So in my personal experience, daily to-do list is a very tough thing, and rather I won't say it's advisable also, but a weekly to-do list is a great thing. And second, do what you love.
Right.
That helps you feel that that you're not doing any work. It's already, let's say, about reaching 10, and I'm not feeling that that it's 10 and I can still go on. But considering the paucity of time, I won't push you hard. But these two things that help me to manage time, if I can say so.
But sir, you're writing a book. You have a really busy chamber. You're also active on LinkedIn. And do you get time for cricket or any hobby that you like?
Hobbies, yes. Cricket has taken us, a backseat, primarily due to paucity of time, and secondly, you know, it takes so many arrangements to, club in to play a good game of cricket. And second, as you said, that hobbies, yes, as a litigator and as a person who is running his own firm, we get opportunities, especially in the field of litigation, because once you go to court, a lot of times, let's say that your matter will come up after a couple of hours.
Mm.
So I should not. What people generally miss it that in those 2 hours, they would just roam around and gossiping, and even their in their traveling times.
Right.
So what I realized that that especially as lawyers, you have to wait for 2 hours. So why not do something that you can do in 1 hour or 1.5 hours? So those are the stints of time that you can utilize on. And as you said, that the hobbies that you are focusing on, let's say that on a given day that I don't want to do work or I don't want to do anything. So those 2 hours are something that that you can meet your friend and chit chat here and there. And secondly, as I said, that I'm a believer and a follower of a weekly to-do list. So if I a given day, if I think that that my calendar allows me to chill, so I take that day. I'll delegate something. I have a good team also nowadays. So I take some time or a part of day to explore my hobbies and then cover up on a next day or in the remaining part of the day. So that's I think that I try to manage time.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. And you really shared some very
Yeah.
unique perspective, like writing a book as a law student and just doing weekly to-do list. Because I do follow a daily to-do list, but now I might consider following a weekly to-do list. So very unique perspectives that you shared. So thank you so much for this.
Thank you. So my pleasure, and thank you for the kind invitation. As I said, it was indeed a pleasant surprise to have such kind of opportunity. I didn't know whether I have something to share with people, but thank you, Rashmi. Once
So you were on my list from the very first. So I started this podcast thing in January only, and this is going to be our eighth
again.
episode. You were always there on my list, but I could not gather the courage to
Okay.
approach because I think it's too small uh, as of now.
No, it isn't because I've gone. You shared the link. I've gone through it, and during our conversation, you have asked really nice and insightful questions. You are doing a really good job.
Thank you
Yes,
so much, sir. Thank you so
I'm
much
sure
for
you will
taking
do
out
well.
time, sir.
Always my pleasure. Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night, sir.